Hi there. I'm going to read a poem called Weather by Eve Merriam, and then afterwards I'll briefly discuss it. This poem can be found in an anthology of Eve Merriam's poems called Catch a Little Rhyme. It was published in 1966, and unfortunately it's no longer in print, but you can still find it online. Let's read the poem. Weather by Eve Merriam. Dot, a dot, 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 a dot, dot, spotting the window pane. Spack, a spack speck, flick, a flack fleck, freckling the window pane. A spatter, a scatter, a wet cat, a clatter, a splatter, a rumble outside. Umbrella, 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 umbrella. Bumbershoot, barrel of rain. Slosh a galosh, slosh a galosh, slither and slather and glide. A puddle, a jump, a puddle, a jump, a puddle, a jump, puddle, splosh, a juddle, a pump, a luddle, a dump, a pud muddle, jump in and slide. So we don't have to think too deeply to see that this poem is about a thunderstorm. If we go take a quick look at the first stanza, we can see that it's probably the beginning of a storm, and we can hear the raindrops falling against the window, dot a dot dot, and spack a spack speck. In the second stanza, it would appear that the storm is getting stronger. It's come closer, and now there's thunder. Umbrella, 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 umbrella seems to represent the sound of rolling thunder. And there's a cat that must have gotten wet in the stronger rain from the middle part of the storm, and it's trying to escape and has knocked the lid off of a metal trash can to make a clattering sound. And in the third stanza, it would seem that the storm has mostly passed and the children have now come out to play. So they're sloshing, and they've put on their rain boots and their raincoats, and they're splashing in the puddles and sliding and having a good time. It's generally what the poem describes. So it describes the coming and going of a rainstorm. It doesn't really say whether the rain is good or bad or scary. It doesn't say much about it. It just seems to describe the experience. Here's Eve Merriam, the author. Let's just read a few words that she's shared with somebody about writing. She said, "You can write poems because you must write them, because you can't live your life without writing them. I spend weeks looking for precisely the right word. It's like having a small marble in your pocket. You can just feel it. Sometimes you find a word and say, 'No, I don't think this is it.' Then you discard it and take another and another until you get the word right. Poetry is great fun. That's what I'd like to stress more than anything else, the joy and sounds of language." So you can tell from what she says here that she's very careful about the words she chooses when she writes. So we can assume from that all of the words in this poem have been very carefully chosen. and they're there on purpose. Let's take a look at the poem again to see how she gets into the sound of language and the joy of language. If you look at the first stanza, we've got dot, a dot, 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 a dot, dot. These are sound words. Sound words, of course, are called onomatopoeias. And this poem is full of onomatopoeias and a lot of other ways she plays with the sounds of words, like rhymes, alliteration, and just words that sound similar in different ways. So here, again, if we look at the first stanza, so one way that the sound of the rain is described is with the word dot. Another way is with spack, spack, and speck, and then flick, flack, and fleck. So this is a special kind of rhyme called alliteration, where the first sounds of the words are the same instead of the final sounds, which is the normal way of making rhymes. So then this goes on to the next line with freckling. So freckling is different. It's longer. It ends with ing, but it's in the same category. The L is changed to an R. So instead of fleck, we've got freck, and then adding the ing, and it has another meaning, and that is putting spots on something, like a person who's got freckles on their face. You can say they're freckled, and you can use it as a verb to put dots on something. You could say you freckled it with spots. In the second stanza, spatter and scatter are good rhyming words, just traditional rhymes. A wet cat, a clatter, a splatter, a rumble outside. So rumble is a good onomatopoeia to describe the thunder. Then she goes on, and we would expect umbrellas in a rainstorm, and we'd expect to see lots of umbrellas in a rainstorm. So we see lots of umbrellas, umbrella, 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 umbrella. But I think she intends it also to be used as an onomatopoeia. So she's really playing with words here, using them in more than one way at a time. So not only are there lots of umbrellas, but there's also the sound of thunder. Umbrella, umbrella. So the B, the B-R-E-L-L, the brell sound can represent the kind of rumbling sound of thunder. And then bumbershoot. Bumbershoot is another word for umbrella. Bumbershoot, barrel of rain. So my mom used to always collect rainwater for the garden, and she had a great big barrel that underneath the eaves that would fill up every time it rained, and that's what this poem is referring to here. And she's also just playing with sounds. Bumbershoot, barrel. Bumbershoot, barrel of rain, the echoing of the B sounds. Bumbershoot, barrel has a fun sound to it. Then in the third sound, slosh, galosh, these words rhyme. Slosh, a galosh. Galosh, of course, is galoshes are rain boots in British English. Then we have slither and slather and glide. And this is just so playful. And when I read it, I can really picture the kids sliding around on the wet grass and in through the puddles and the mud. And then a puddle, a jump, a puddle, a jump. It's quite repetitious, but that would be how kids would play. When kids are out there and there's lots of puddles around, they will just jump jump, 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 jump from puddle to puddle. So you really get a sense of that. So a juddle, a pump, a luddle, a dump, a pud muddle, jump in and slide. Very playful use of sounds. Her son is D. Michel, and he has said this about his mother. He said, "One thing that springs to mind about my mother's love of language is that she believed in the sounds of words as much as their meaning." So, yeah, we really can see how that works in this poem. In Weather, Eve Merriam has created essentially a photo, almost a sound photograph of which more, I suppose, more like a video then, of the coming and going of a rainstorm. She doesn't use visual images in a normal photograph. Instead of colors and shapes and forms, she uses sounds. She uses the sounds of different kinds of words and the different ways of rhyming words and playing with the sounds of words to give us a sense of what a thunderstorm or a rainstorm is like and the different elements of it. So it's quite a lovely, lovely poem, and I appreciate it a lot. Thank you for your time.